The Public Service Union contemplates court action against Public Works Corporation over unresolved redundancy issues. The Office of Disaster Management and the UE Research Center say no need to panic over recent tremors in the Soufriere area, and a disaster risk expert emphasizes the significance of evacuation routes in communities likely to be cut off during disaster. I am Idona Jean-Baptiste of the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. First up, the executive of the Public Service Union to seek the legal route to try to address a stalemate with management of the Public Works Corporation. This has to do with 20 employees of the PWC who have still not been recalled to work despite a temporary layoff in July, which would have run for 6 weeks. General Secretary of the Employees Trade Union, Thomas Leita, says the Public Service Union has exhausted its non-court options. The men will meet with Leita on Thursday.
The last that we did was for the employees to request redundancy, and that was sometimes in September. Those letters have not been acknowledged. Nobody's talking to them, nobody's saying anything to us, and we believe that the next step that we could do is to take the matter to court. So we have now engaged the services of a lawyer, and we are going to court with the matter. I have a meeting with the employees, that is those who were laid off, sometime tomorrow, and we will inform them of the development.
The Protection of Employment Act states that where an employee has been laid off for 6 or more consecutive weeks, the employee may elect to make a claim in writing to the employer for a redundancy benefit pursuant to this act. According to Leita, he's been seeking to have meetings with the PWC board about the redundancy situation with no success.
In my capacity as General Secretary of the Caribbean Public Services Association, I have written to a number of governments on issues affecting public officers throughout the region. I have written to the British government, I have written to the Montserrat government, the Bermuda government, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and a number of other regional governments, and we get responses from them. And in a lot of instances, the issues are resolved. Meetings were arranged. Some of the meetings, 1 or 2 meetings was held. Other time they told us they will get back to us, which they have not done.
The layoff memo had assured that the corporation would continue to review the situation, and if there is any change which will allow recalling all or some of the employees, they would be notified accordingly. We
wish that the situation was different, where we could have just embarked on industrial action and get all public officers and every employee in this country to support our move. But that is a little difficult for us at the time. We still have a lot of mobilization to do, and therefore we believe the best option is to take the matter to court, and that is where we are heading to. By Monday, the lawyer will give us a definite position as to what our chances are and on what grounds we can build our case.
In other major developments, recent volcanic activity on island has been rated at level green for quiet. Therefore, the Office of Disaster Management has said there is no need to be in a state of panic. The University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center recorded 7 tremors in the Soufriere area on October 27 and 28. An earthquake was also recorded on the 3rd of November in the south that was the strongest, with a magnitude of 4.5 reportedly felt in Guadeloupe, St. Lucia and Barbados. The Office of Disaster Management has also been monitoring the situation.
We have had a team go down to that area, including a volcanologist who lives on island, accompanied a team there, and basically answering some of the questions of the people. We applaud the fact that the people themselves have seen the need to take some initiative, and so there is a meeting tomorrow evening where the community is going to come together to try to reactivate their Community Disaster Management Committee. We feel that is important and significant, and we hope that it can be sustained.
There is continued monitoring by the Seismic Research Center. Joseph is encouraging communities to get interested in putting evacuation plans in place in the event of an incident.
the risk factors are there and people feel, okay, we need to do something about it. But the ODM has also decided to actually go into the community to hold a number of community meetings, public education sessions, where we will try to impart knowledge on the volcanic risk. It is not very unusual for Dominica. In some cases, many people don't feel it, but the quakes are occurring and are registering.
A national disaster risk management specialist has underscored the importance of alternative access routes to communities.
Chairman of the Soufriere Scott said Gallia Village Council recently announced that Soufriere may be getting a jetty to help make access to the community easier in instances when the road network is cut off. The National Disaster Risk Management Specialist says the jetties play a critical role in helping with the evacuation of people during disasters.
When we speak of an evacuation for a volcanic situation, very often it's quite possible that the roads can be blocked because of the precursory conditions where you have earthquakes and what have you. You could have a lot of falling rocks that could block the roads. And you know, very often in Dominica, most of our communities are same way in, same way out. So the evacuation plan must call for alternatives, and on coastal communities we look at having jetties so people can move by boat.
Shillingford says that inland communities need to have another means of moving people when the main road becomes impassable.
For example, in my community, Belleville-Chopin, one can move from Belleville to Girondelle using a track. One can also move to Pichelin using another track. So it doesn't always have to be a motorable road. I mean, it's desirable that we have motorable roads. I recall in 1998, between 1998 and 2000, when we were sort of preparing for such an eventuality, that's one of the instructions we give people. If you cannot go on the motorable road, take the tracks.
Dominicans are being urged to continue to exercise caution as the hurricane season is still being observed.
The official part ends on the 30th, but you can still have a hurricane in December, in January, and what have you. People in the communities, even coming out of this Erica situation, they still have to be on standby. But if you're going to have a hurricane situation, one understands that you can have a lot of rain, and because of that, very often these things precipitate landslides and what have you. So if there needs to be an alternate route, everybody should know that alternate route, because if you cannot go through the normal route, you have to use alternate routes.
The hurricane season runs from 1st June to 30th November each year.
On the education scene, as the Ministry of Education observes Early Childhood Development Month, parents and center administrators are being warned that there is still a rule stipulating the age children should attend preschool. Assistant Education Officer for Early Childhood Development, Vida George, says while parents generally want their children to attend early childhood centers, the issue bugging the Ministry of Education is that they are sometimes too eager.
The preschools not only provide education for the children, but it's also a sort of custodial care while parents are at work. And very often, unfortunately, we find parents wanting to send the children to the preschools before their time. Schools, the stipulated age is 3 years by December 31st, but you will find that parents are trying to send their children to school, forcing them, some of them, to be potty trained, unfortunately, just so that they can attend preschool.
Parents may think it's more costly to have a child remain at a daycare center rather than a preschool. However, there are clear rules set out by the education authorities on that.
Whereas we might be we want to challenge our children and we want to ensure that they have a right start and we set a right foundation. How we do it is very important. Okay, so we need to be conscious of the children's level of development. Do not force them into a program before their time.
George says these are isolated cases. Nevertheless, the approach at addressing this situation is not punitive.
We don't really want to penalize anybody. What we do in the Ministry of Education is to guide people. We work with the institutions and we work with the parents. So in some instances, we ask the parents to remove the children from the preschool and try to enlist them in a program that is more developmentally appropriate. We do have the monitoring system that I go into the centers and monitor what is happening on a regular basis. Of course, there are a few parents who tell you, well, I am at home and I can homeschool my child, so I'd prefer to do that. Of course, that's acceptable.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, why First Serenade Band is pulling out of future NCCU Cadets Calypso shows. Stay with us. Welcome back. Young Dominicans interested in the legal profession have been called upon to exercise professional integrity when they embark on their legal journey.
The remarks came from retired Chief Justice Brian Allen when he addressed the opening ceremony of the Public Education Day. The event was organized by Impact Justice in collaboration with the Dominica Bar Association. Impact Justice seeks to implement a regional justice sector reform project within 13 CARICOM member states.
Diligence, professionalism, and sensitivity of all parties are the factors that contribute to the restorative impact of the justice system. Negligence, incompetence, prejudice have the opposite effect. And we are often assailed by these elements. Negligence by the landowner, incompetence, prejudice. The essential function of the justice system is to protect rights. In the absence of an effective legal justice system, society would be out of control. There would be chaos. Might would be right, and the powerful would oppress the weak without restraint. Exploitation and abuse of the vulnerable would be the norm.
Allen spoke on the topic, Know the Law, Know Your Rights. He impressed upon the audience the importance of an impartial justice system.
The law and the legal system, and obviously the legal fraternity, must actively contribute to and support these objectives, the balance between rights and responsibilities. Membership of the legal fraternity is a profound privilege. But like all privileges, it carries with it profound responsibilities. That is why the legal profession lays such store on the ethical principles and practices that govern the profession. It is a serious but honorable burden. Your first duty and responsibility would be to the law and to right action. Professional integrity is a first principle for the legal profession.
One of the aims of Impact Justice is to facilitate increased knowledge and use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms as a means of settling disputes at an early stage and without court intervention.
On the legal side of things, a court ruling against 2 men who broke and entered the home of a St. Joseph man have been upheld by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. On Tuesday, the case of Stephen Wyke and Yohan Charles, who was sentenced to 6 years for burglary in 2013, was heard by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court.
The 2 were charged with stealing electronic equipment, jewelry, bulletproof vest, and handcuffs totaling $18,245 from the home of Patrick Simeon in St. Joseph in June 2010. According to the evidence presented in the case, in June 2010, Simeon returned home from work to find his home ransacked. Bernadette Lambert, who represented Yohan Charles, told the judges 6 years was harsh and excessive since her client pleaded guilty and most of the items were recovered. The maximum penalty for the offense was 12 years. In response, the court said the aggravating aspects of the case far outweighed the mitigating factors. Lambert was also told that she was yet to persuade the court that the 6 years imposed by the trial judge was excessive. Upon hearing this, Lambert withdrew the appeal. Wayne Norday, lawyer representing Stephen Wyke, told the court that the 6 years imposed by the trial judge was excessive, considering the circumstances of the case. Norday said Wyke would have gotten a lighter sentence since the judge considered Wyke and Charles separately. In its decision, the court said that both men showed no remorse. The appeal by the lawyers was dismissed and the sentence by the trial judge was affirmed. State Attorney Funelia Felix represented the state in that matter.
On the music scene, the First Serenade Band is clearing the air on its decision to withdraw its participation from the 2016 NCCU Calypso show. Andrea Louis has more.
During the 2015 show on 31st October, the band announced that it would not be participating in next year's show. However, there has been much speculation among the public as to the reason for the band's decision. Leader of the First Serenade Band says the choice of the band to withdraw from next year's event had been made much earlier.
From since last year, yeah, we decided it wasn't making sense. Yeah, because we have guys coming from all over to practice with the band. They come from all kind of distances. And we felt that the amount of effort and the prize money, it was not adding up. Because for one, the amount of effort required to be in the show was not making sense because we had to do a lot more than people in the individual segment. Because in our segment, we had to do a test piece, record 2 original songs, play for 45 minutes, and it was not adding up. The prize money with the amount of work involved was not adding up. Studio songs can go like about $800 a song. You pay musicians to come and put down parts, it varies.
Winston says concerns with the judging panel for the band section were raised to the organizing body. However, these were dismissed.
Because you cannot have somebody writing for a band and still being a judge, and being a coordinator for a band and being a judge. That was part of the concern. I mean, we congratulated TOKS, we didn't have an issue with TOKS. I mean, one to win, one to lose. But I mean, there were discrepancies in the judging. For example, you're using bouillon judges to judge Cadas, and recommendations were made whereby certain judges we felt that were more affluent in the Cadas arena should have judged that show. We told them that we had concerns and we were told that we were troublesome. I mean, a particular individual went as far as telling us we were out of place to recommend judges. You can make recommendations. We live in a democratic country, it's democracy, any.
The NCCU had been commended for reviving the Calypso movement in Dominica.
I would like to commend the NCCU and wish them well, because I think it's a good thing that they are doing to bring back Cadas in Dominica, because that genre of music had actually gone down. And with their efforts, and I will applaud them.
Will we ever see First Serenade back in that NCCU Calypso show?
I cannot say no. Anything is possible. Once there's life, there's hope.
But next year for sure, you're out.
Definitely. But it's not because, I want to make that fundamentally clear, it's not because the band lost. Because as I mentioned earlier, you cannot have a judge on a panel that is writing for a band, coordinating for a band, and judging. That is not a level playing field.
The winning band, TOKS, received $8,000, while the winning individual, Anton White Ferry Joseph, received $15,000 in cash and prizes.
Your sports highlights is next with Kenny Williams.
We start off with cricket. Celebration for West Indies when they secured their first victory in their tour of Sri Lanka to win by 23 runs on Wednesday. Bravo picked up 4 wickets for the West Indies, with his team scoring 162 for 6 in 20 overs. Ramdin scored 34, Charles 34, and Bravo 31. Sri Lanka, in reply, scored 139 all-out in 20 overs, with Dilshan scoring 52. Bravo was declared player of the match and Dilshan player of the series. Meantime, over in Abu Dhabi, Pakistan won by 6 wickets with 38 balls in hand when they faced England for their first ODI on Wednesday. England batted first to amass 216 all-out. Morgan and Taylor together gathered 136. Irfan took 3 wickets for Pakistan, with Pakistan replying 217 for 4. Topley picked up 3 wickets for England. Still in cricket, the West Indies Cricket Board, WICB, has reinstated Phil Simmons as head coach of the Windies team. Simmons was suspended in September after he expressed dissatisfaction with the selection of the ODI squad ahead of the West Indies tour Sri Lanka. His reinstatement was based on 2 criteria: the issuance of a letter of reprimand for his comments and he is making a public apology to the WICB and people who may have been offended as a result of his statement. The WICB said it will also investigate the allegations made by Simmons and take the necessary action against other parties found guilty. And finally, football action takes us to the Portersville Savannah, where Castlebrew Secondary will face Dominica Grammar School for an under-15 match on Thursday. Following that match is an under-20 clash between Goodwill Secondary and St. Mary's Academy. Well, that's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
And now it's time for Flashback.
We are back with another look at events which made the news in Dominica many years ago.
Positive community spirit has led to the renovation of the Grand Bay basketball court. The court, which lies in the grounds of the Roman Catholic Church, was originally built by the Young Christian Workers of Dominica in the mid-1960s and has produced a number of national basketball players. Now, donations in kind and hard cash from members of the Grand Bay community have brought the court back to its former self. The self-reliance and perseverance of Granbayrians, Parish Priest Father Jerome Moody and the Catholic Church were commended at the opening on Saturday by Community Development Parliamentary Secretary John Baptist John and Member for Grand Bay Pierre Charles.
That we in the Grand Bay community must adopt the spirit of self-help, the spirit of self-reliance. We can do anything we want to do for ourselves.
Grand Bay Sports Committee President Willie Fevrier delivered the feature address, urging the users of the court to display respectable behavior at all times.
Expected to be conscious of the behavior displayed here. In particular, I'm calling on everyone to exercise self-respect, respect for peers and friends, respect for the church, respect for the priests and lay leaders of the church. Avoid the use of abusive and obscene language at all costs.
Donors to the project received certificates of appreciation, but the day's activities were highlighted by donor Newton Francis, who shot the first basket on the court.
Right. It's not the first basket. Good.
Oh boy, looks like someone disobeyed the leaders of the community. The court has been relocated to this location where I now stand, at the Matutu Park in Grand Bay, due to users not adhering to the rules. The good thing is that there is still a court available to continue creating memories and building community spirit. It's always a good idea to follow the rules and appreciate the hard work and good deeds of our community leaders. I am Janik Delma Samuel. Join us next Wednesday for another flashback from Dominica.
Increased cloudiness and some scattered showers across the area by tomorrow morning, with a gradual improvement by afternoon. More details in the weather report.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. The high-pressure system continued to be the dominant feature in our area, while instability associated with the trough system continued to influence the weather across the leewards and southern portions of the Lesser Antilles. Today's visible satellite imagery showed a few low-level clouds which moved across Dominica, resulting in fair to partly cloudy skies. There was a reduction in dust haze during the course of the day. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies were observed across the islands to the south of the chain. Radar imagery indicated shower activity across the islands to the south of the chain, while a few isolated showers were observed across Dominica. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a few scattered showers. And tomorrow, a pulse of moisture is expected to move across the area, resulting in cloudy skies with some scattered showers during the morning period. By afternoon, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few isolated showers are expected. Sea conditions tomorrow will be moderate in open water, with waves peaking near 7 feet. And looking ahead, partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers are expected on Friday, with possible thunderstorm activity mainly during the early morning period. By Saturday, the high-pressure system is again expected to become the dominant feature, resulting in fair to partly cloudy skies. And across the Lesser Antilles tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy skies are expected across the leewards, occasional cloudy skies with some scattered showers across the central portion of the chain, with thunderstorm activity across the islands to the extreme south. And across our international cities, there's a chance of rain in New York, partly cloudy skies in Miami, mostly cloudy skies in London and Beijing, and possible thunderstorm activity in Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:06 a.m. and will set at 5:33 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.
That's news to end the news. The headlines again. The Public Service Union contemplates court action against Public Works Corporation over unresolved redundancy issues. The Office of Disaster Management and the UWI Research Center say no need to panic over recent tremors in the Soufriere area, and the disaster risk expert emphasizes the significance of evacuation routes in communities that are likely to be cut off during disaster. Let us know what you think. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona Baptist. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.